way for us to do this is not me just stand here and go through slides and act like I'm an expert. I'll really quickly run through these, and then we can just have Q&A. I think each of you had some specific questions that doesn't necessarily go into funnels and conversions. So if that's okay with you, let's just have a roundtable discussion and kind of just dig on each person's needs as far as your company and what you're looking for, rather than a generic presentation. Does that work? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Awesome. So I don't know if you've heard of my company or who I am. I work for a company called Social Tables. We actually came out of this awesome incubator here in 1776. We were actually located at the time on the floor where it was under construction. So we were literally in a room where there was no walls or electric output. So it was great. So we're now based in Washington, in Chinatown, and my role there at Social Tables is I focus on corporate sales. So doing any enterprise, basically Fortune 1000. Clients like Dow Jones to the small mom and pop corporate shop. So I have about 10 years experience in sales. You may have heard of 2U as well. Chip, the CEO, always comes here, has presentations as well. I worked for them for 3 years. I was running their Hong Kong office when they started that division. So I'll do my best to give my feedback and I guess what I want to say expertise and experience and what I've learned over the years in sales and how to really grow a market in your specific company. I've been in startups for the last 5 years, so I do have some experience with that. And currently, with Social Tables, we are looking at expanding our sales verticals, and that's one of the things that I'm getting into more is understanding how and who to sell to, other than the verticals that we have now. So that's kind of our office. Over there, it's a really cool place. As far as growth goes, we started about 3 years ago, and the growth has been really tremendous. So we're in the event industry. We like to call ourselves an event management company that happens to have technology rather than the other way around. That really meets the needs of our clients. So anywhere from diagramming actual floor plans to setting up seating, attendee management. So the whole experience of, if you think about any events you've gone to, we do all that back-end operational, or we provide the solution for folks to do the back-end operational setup and then be able to really provide upscale events that are, at the end of the day, efficient. Some of our big clients, Hyatt Corporate, every Hyatt around the world is using Social Tables. So that's just something that was one of our biggest portfolios. This is a little outdated. We're actually, to date, we're about 70 employees and over 3,200 clients. In August, we raised $8 million. That's just going to really help us educate our clients, build better products, and of course, be able to spend the majority of that money in marketing, which at the end of the day helps sales. So that's just a really quick tidbit. This is Jeff and I's favorite slide. Work smarter, not harder. I use this on every single one of my slides that I have, no matter what I'm talking about. And I think that this goes to everybody here. And understanding, what the difference is. And for me, I sometimes fall into that working way too hard and becomes not smart at all. So I try to catch myself as much as possible. Before we get into this aspect, I know some of you I got the information from Jeff as far as what company you represent, but I would just love to just go around and if you can introduce yourself, what your company does, and essentially what you're looking to get out of this specific class. So I'll start with you.
I'm Abby. I work for Agricity/Compost Cab. People know us under different names. We do home compost collection.
Oh, wow.
And most of our customer base has come to us organically or through relationship building, and we've done zero in sales and marketing to date. And so we're looking at launching some sales and marketing campaigns start of the new year. So we're starting at ground one. So.
Round one, okay.
Yeah.
So you mentioned really quickly, you mentioned most of your clients have been referral based?
We've just been active in the urban agriculture community, and that's right. By word of mouth, okay. And by finding us online has been how all of our clients have come to us.
But you haven't made any sales as in revenue to the company?
Oh, yes. Okay. As in like having salespeople that sell our product, we don't have any.
Okay, got it.
Yes, we have like 800 subscribers.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
Great.
Hello, I'm Melina, and the company I'm working on is ePulse, which stands for Entrepreneurship Pulse. It's an information services company, and what we're aiming to provide is customized and tailored market research to on the entrepreneurial ecosystems in emerging markets. Our initial focus is Sub-Saharan Africa. And we recently signed a partnership with the government to actually deploy in the capital city and multiple cities within the country. We're pre-revenue. We are a multi-sided platform where we provide data to entrepreneurs as well as organizations such as investors and corporations on the other side. So what I'm looking for is basically an understanding of how do you sell to sort of the investor corporation profile, and because I think that helps us with sort of pricing and go-to strategy.
And so folks are coming to you and they're paying a fee for a certain research, like market research that they're looking for data?
Yes,
Okay.
so the paying customer is actually the investor or corporation or anyone who's looking to get a better understanding of these entrepreneurial ecosystems and emerging markets.
Okay, great. Thank you. Dan?
Yeah, so my name's Dan. I work with a company called Bionic. What we do is essentially work with businesses that want to stop using cash to pay their people, particularly the geographic focus. So we are live in Uganda, soon to be Kenya. What we do is we plug into mobile payment networks. So networks like M-Pesa in Kenya, you may have heard of, but similar mobile payment networks that work really, really well on a peer-to-peer level. Really crappy systems exist for a business that wants to pay 20 people at a time and be able to sort of audit and authorize those payments. So we essentially created that platform that looks a lot like online banking software to basically make it manage payments to mobile phones.
And so what's your goal?
Yeah, so I'm in the process of figuring out and creating sort of this outbound sales process. It's incredibly effective if I can get basically one of two different people at organizations and put leads through, and we get like a 40 or 50% response rate from cold prospects, and we're closing 10 to 15% of the leads that we bring in.
That's awesome.
Yeah, our issue is that I can't, like if it was my full-time job to put emails and hunt people down is a lot of cyber stalking at this point. So figuring out, I think it'd be really interesting to hear like getting this from different people, what metrics we should be looking at to basically, I would like to be able to justify, we need to hire someone full-time to be able to put emails through this funnel that works really well, seeing how someone like you does it. Okay. Point of view. I think that, payback period, cycle time, those are the things that we're trying to figure out right now.
Sure.
See if we can justify that person's existence enough.
Yeah, absolutely. Makes sense. Thank you.
So once again, my name is Sharuk and our food Good World, and what we do is we make it easy for people to donate to nonprofits by using #donate. So what happens is a nonprofit signs up with us, loads some tech on their Facebook and Twitter, and then people can literally like comment or tweet #donate, and they just sign up once with us. The issue is like so far, we just launched in October, and we just kind of had like a small batch of like 30 nonprofits that we were working with, and now we want to reach out to more. Until now, we haven't really had any sort of like sales process or strategy. It's just been like referrals, people hearing about us, contacting like our founders, and then dealing with it. And so they brought me on to figure out where to go from here. And we have like a lot of people that we want to reach out to, but like I've never done this before. I'm like completely new to it. Salesforce confuses me. And so I guess I need to figure out like how to like plan, so, like just how to get started really.
Okay. Really quick question on that. So actually 2 questions. How many people are on your team or the company?
And that fluctuates.
Still the board. Yeah, seriously.
Less than 10.
Okay, that works. Averages are good. And so, is there anybody who's dedicated to just specifically outreach to sell to people?
Our co-founder was kind of doing that a little bit, but he's more focused on marketing right now. So they want me to take over that.
Okay. How do you feel about that? Have you sold anything before? It's okay to say no.
No, I don't think so.
That's
I was trying to
absolutely
think
okay.
of like if I ever had any experience. No.
Sure, that's absolutely okay. One thing that I've learned is to be successful in sales, you do not sell at all. It's not about jamming features and what your product or what you have to offer to people. It's about building value around their wants and making them need. And that's how you want to really focus when you're in sales. And that's obviously a completely different conversation, but just think about that. It's not about the pitch. It's not about, look at this fancy this and that, what you can do. It's more about, again, value, understanding what your product or what your services can offer to them. So think about that when you're going into sales. Yeah. It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. So there's what you guys are looking for is completely, not completely different, but there's a lot of different avenues and areas that we can look into today. With this, I don't think this is exactly for all of you exactly what you need, but I think it'll be important to look at. I'll be glad to share the slide with you. And then I'll really quickly jump into a previous slide that I have that could be relevant to who you're targeting, how to target them, and figuring out the best ways to do that. So more of sales channels, how you're going to reach to those folks, content, things like that. Once you figure that out, then you want to go into funnel strategy. So what's your marketing funnel like? What's your sales funnel like? So we'll work a little bit backwards, but I think overview would be great. I'll share the slides with you, and I'll be glad to stay in touch with you all. We can meet for coffee and things like that. I've done it with the previous class as well. That we should send us a few emails. I'll be glad to do that if you would like. So I think the number one thing you want to think about is why should people buy your product, right? You can have the greatest idea, but if you don't know and understand why people should buy a product, then you probably have to start back at the drawing board. And then next is why aren't people buying it right now? For some of you, it's a little different. There's no sales force, literally as in not your CRM, but a team of people selling. So that's probably one reason why they aren't buying right now, because the mass does not know who you are and what you offer. But there could be various reasons. Then there's this, so how do you want to create your market share? As a startup, I think the goal, and again, everybody has different ways when they run their business, but as a startup, when you start, you always want, your focus should be market share, meaning by any means possible, sell your product for whatever price tag you can. Create that market share. Once you get that market share that you're happy with, for example, social tables, the goal was when we first started to create 15% market share in one specific vertical. I'll get to you. One specific vertical, and that was in hotels. If we created that market share, we went from focusing on people who are more folks that are explorers, who want to explore a nice fancy product, into people who need this product. So once you create that market share, then you can be more comfortable selling at a higher price tag. So that's really overview, but I think that would be something that creates your market share. Go ahead, you have a question?
Just a piece that you mentioned, for any price, selling something for any price. So has it been hard to convert those, early adopters or early customers?
Yeah, early adopters.
For $10,
right?
Is it, but your product is really worth $1,000,
right?
How do you convert that, or is it more of just the numbers enough, just having people interested enough to pay $10 is kind of validates the product and sort of the value that you offer?
Exactly. So that's a great question. So I think what it comes down to is when you're talking to these early adopters, it's about saying to them, we're just growing. We want you to be one of the first early adopters to help us grow this product, help us grow as a business. Your feedback is really important. So you champion them into more than just a customer, but as someone who, as a client, that is going to help you grow your business and your product. Before I even started Social Tables did a great job at is getting those early adopters and having them become advocates and also feedback heavy of what we can do to make our product better. And if it had to be, if something was $5,000 and we sold it for $1,000 or $500, then so be it. That was the first year, but we wanted them on board. They created that portfolio, the presence. And then they become long-term customers. So in every year, they understand it's a new product, better product, you can start charging more and more.
So it's not a true metric of what your actual value
No, it's not. It really is not. It's about creating value around the partnership, not the price tag. So that's how you would, in my opinion, and based on what Social Tables has done, is that's how you want to create that market share and really a client base, especially in the beginning. And once you're comfortable with your processes and you have a team and you're at a position in your company where the product and the services you're offering is really good, then you can start selling still on the value, but now more of a higher price tag because that value is worth it to somebody. So, was there any other questions with this part? Oh, okay. So the almighty funnel. This is definitely on the higher end, but this is how you want to look at when you're funneling your sales line. So obviously on the left-hand side is how you reach out to your clients. So that's the most important part: SEM, organic search engine optimization, referrals, which a lot of you are focusing on. But then how do you turn that from referrals to offering them content that's relevant to them, right? So your referrals that you're working with, how do you provide white papers or case studies to kind of show, what your product offers or what your industry offers that has nothing to do with your product. So now you're becoming a thought leader in that industry. And then of course it goes into, wow, I'm interested, I think you guys are a great company, into a demonstration, in which then goes into a sales process. Again, this is on the high end, so I think this is good for you guys to look at, and we'll certainly review this as well afterwards. This is where you come to specific funneling. You know what you're selling, you have a lead base in a sales team, and now you want to focus on 1 through 6. So how do you start from those cold calling or cold emails into going to get them engaged as a prospect, and then considering them what's considered a marketing qualified lead, and then what's a sales call to a new customer. Again, very high end here, but these are the funnels that you want to think about when you're growing your sales base. How do you understand if this person that you're talking to is the right person you're talking to, and if they're going to move down this funnel into the most important aspect. And then tracking. I mean, this is really important. You want to measure everything. So I know you mentioned you use Salesforce, any kind of CRM that you use, and Dan, you probably know this as far as your experience-wise and what you guys are doing. How much your leads cost. How much those leads turn into opportunities and become a sales. So these are the things, again, later on, and when you get a little more deeper into sales, that you need to think about is how are you measuring these. Yes.
So what are the drivers of these numbers? Like, how do you get to these numbers?
So these are just examples.
Right.
So for example, I bought 106 leads and at $5 a lead.
Oh, so these are okay.
So that's an example. So out of the 106 leads, 32 opportunities came out of those leads. So now, I have a $16 opportunity cost to grow it into a quote. So now out of the 32, 21 of them have been quoted. So how much did it cost from the leads to get to the quote and the sale? So I invested, for example, $5 a lead, which turned into $25 per quote, into a $500 sale.
Yeah.
So understanding how much the sale was into how much it cost me to pay for the lead.
So, but these are leads that you bought. So let's say a referral.
Example, sure.
So how can you put, what are the numbers that you can put around that?
Well, I mean, you can. So referral, you'll get to a point where, again, this is my opinion. You get to a point with referrals where you bought enough leads and you paid enough marketing to know what average costs for referrals. The reason why referrals are so good because it doesn't cost you anything. So you have literally 100% return on your investment. So you can't really put a price tag on it, but your focus should be, if you have a referral, do everything and anything you can to make sure that they're taken care of and closed, because that's where you want to be as a business, right? You want to be referral based. Questions?
How does this change over time?
With
going from customer 1 to 10 to 1,000. So
right.
That's, I mean, I guess my concern is I spend a lot of time and effort hunting down things. If I count up my time and put that in there, it's a very expensive process for leads.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. So I mean, I guess how have you seen it change over time?
Yeah. So I think the way you see it change over time is when you start bringing in sales and you look at time spent, average cost of leads to the average sales price, and where do you need to spend more time? Do you need to increase your ASP, your average sales price, or you need to increase your lead efforts to bring in more leads so you can create that higher ASP? So for us, it was, again, in the beginning, early adoption. Spend as much money you can on leads, but sell them for whatever you can, and then once you create the content around the current clients that we have, then you focus on less leads purchased, but higher quality, but then you have a higher price tag. So you spend more money on less leads, but those less leads bring you, at the end of the day, a higher price tag. So that's where we would start seeing measuring from starting at the beginning and not focusing so much on lead generation and more into becoming a thought leader. So this is kind of what you want to see as far as those early adopters, right? So a lot of them, because they're early adopters, they're probably down at the bottom. They're suspect of you and your product and your company. But as you grow, you want to get to that point where your early adopters become raving fans. And now you have, again, that market share of those early adopters that have told other people, this is what that company does, this is what our product does. And now you can be able to, legitimize, again, who you are and what you do. In the early stages, we had a lot of small clients that we took really good care of. Like, for example, the Latin Grammys used our software in 2012. So it was about a year into us being a company, and we literally gave it away. But we did everything we can for 24 hours while that event was happening to make sure that everything went smoothly, the product worked properly. But they're still a customer, and every year they're paying more and more, and they've become the biggest advocates in the entertainment business for us, for example. So those are some of the things we want to think about. I'm still doing that now. Corporate is a new vertical for us, for me specifically, that I'm running it. A client that I'm working with right now, I literally gave them a product for one event, basically for free, but they're such a big name that, and I'm flying to, or taking the train to New York to actually be at this event. So I'm doing everything in my power to make sure that they're happy, because that $500 that I charge them for this one event is going to probably turn into a $25,000 deal in 3 months, all because I've done it this way. Disregard. So this is kind of then about what you were mentioning about when do you realize, how much time you need to be spent on purchasing leads, cold emails. It's going to your close rates. I mean, you had an incredible 10 to 50% close rate on cold calls?
Yeah, I mean, it's somewhere around that. Sometimes it's 5, sometimes it's a little bit higher.
Right.
Kind of depends what we go through.
Sure.
Yeah.
So what do you want to see? I know I'm talking to everybody, but what do you want to see from, so when was this 10 to 15% close rate that you had?
So we've been kind of cold prospecting, like sort of what I read, predictable revenue. So
yeah,
the cold call 2.0 over the last couple months. So I mean, we put, it's like 30 to 40 leads through that funnel maybe a month ago.
Right.
And we're working on pilots with 2 and close 1.
Awesome.
So that's very quick.
Yeah.
So our issue is like, okay, it takes a couple months to do it. I know kind of how much time we brought in. My big issue is, can we shorten that enough that it makes sense for what they're going to end up being in terms of revenue per customer?
Shorten what?
The sales cycle.
Okay.
Yeah.
With these specific folks.
Yeah, I mean, that's sort of I guess, so my concern is that it takes too long for us to get them onboarded to where we're actually making money off every customer.
What's your average sales cycle right now?
So 2 to 3 months.
Right.
And then there's another 1 to 2 months, probably 2 months onboarding.
So
like from sign contract to essentially.
From lead to cash in your account, how long does that take?
Lead to first cash in our account takes 2 to 3 months.
Okay.
Lead to fully ramped up, a couple $100, several $100 per month per customer.
Right.
Can take 2 to 6 depending on cost.
Okay. Gotcha.
We just have to build. We're dealing with people's money, so it takes a lot of time to build up that trust.
Right. Sure.
So
and you're dealing with overseas, Africa.
Yeah, I mean, and for the most part, they're all either international NGOs or they're sort of large organizations that work in Uganda.
Right.
Our name has gotten a fairly good reputation out there. It's starting better than telecoms, but it's not enough for everyone to give us $25,000 every 2 weeks to put through the system. Right away.
Right. So I'll be honest, I know nothing about your industry.
Yeah.
Working in Africa, I've done some dealings in Africa, but it was more partnerships. But my gut says focusing on shortening that is going to be difficult initially, because you're dealing with international transactions. You're dealing with so many things that come into play. Different cultures, obviously, we all know that. Different cultures, different types of form of communication. They don't have probably the best internet that you do here.
Yeah.
They don't have that same sense of urgency as we Americans do, or the American style of doing business, right? So you always want to add that extra few days or weeks or whatever it takes in a sales cycle. And then once you understand that it's working, how do you recreate that, showing that time scale? One is having actual presence, people on the ground there. I don't know if you do or you don't.
Yeah.
So how do you make them, the folks that are on the ground, decrease that sales cycle? That's, for example, at 2U,
Mm-hmm.
we were really successful closing deals from here overseas in APAC, but it was too long. So that's why we decided to explore, and I went to Hong Kong, and we closed deals rather than 60-day sales cycle, it turned 45 days after our first quarter overseas, and then it went from 45 days to 30 days because we were more on the ground there, same time zone. We can get on a quick, hour plane or drive to get to these locations. So I think it's still early for you to completely focus on it. Again, just my opinion, but again, you also want to take into consideration the environments that you're working in. So just a thought.
Okay.
But close rates, going back to that, I mean, those close rates are awesome. So you want to realize what's my next goal. So if I'm doing 10 to 50% close rate on 30 deals, my gut says buy 90 deals, right? Yeah, you don't have the force and you don't feel like doing that, but think about if you're doing a 10% close rate on every 30 deals, I would take that all day. I mean, and buy more leads and focus on that 10%.
Okay.
Because that's going to, one, obviously that's an incredible close rate, in my opinion, this early in the game. And two, it's going to give you more opportunity to close deals. As you have more in your pipeline, it's okay to have that 3 to 6 month sales cycle because you're working with more people. So now, let's say in month 3, you're working with 20 clients that are bringing you X amount of dollars, and you know that in month 6, these 10 of them are going to pay. So you just keep feeding your cycle because you're bringing in more leads and opportunities. I would focus on increasing the heck out of your leads. So that's my thought.
Yeah, that's definitely, you can only cyber stock so much before the rest of your life gets in the way.
Well, no.
Yeah,
I completely agree.
So that's what I was trying to figure out. If there's a way to sort of justify, either bringing on another body or.
In my opinion,
yeah.
It's really early because you've got. Was this your first 30 leads? I'm sorry we're focusing on this, but I think this is relevant for everybody. Was this just your first 30 leads you bought? Or that you attacked or called?
Kind of, in any type of normal manner, yeah.
So I think you're really early in the infancy stage to think about bringing in another person.
Okay.
Because think about the 30 leads you paid for, now you want to add whatever it costs, right? So $30, 30 leads cost you, let's say for example, $30. Mm-hmm. So you're talking about $1 a lead. Now let's say you bring a part-time salesperson or a business development person, and you're paying them $8 an hour. Now you have to add that equation or that cost into your per lead price. So now you're increasing your lead price as you're selling the same price. It's the same product. So how's that cost-benefit analysis working for you? Does it make sense right now? My gut says no. But if you have 90 leads or 100 leads, now maybe you can bring in another person part-time or something like that to justify the cost-benefit analysis of bringing in somebody on board. Okay, that's my thought. And I get life, especially cold calling, is the worst. I mean, it's something you have to do in sales, and it's really good to do that, especially in the beginning. Obviously at this point, associated with we're spoiled. We have a whole business development team that does the cold calling majority for us, except for my vertical. I have to do it myself, which is not cool. But it's growing pains. But until you get there, you have to do it yourself. Just a thought again. I know life thing, but increase your leads. Keep that. Try to focus on that 10-15% close rate, so you're able to justify and be able to bring somebody else on board. Okay. Anybody else have that same thought or struggle with getting? I know you said you're really in the beginning, right? So tell me about.
I mean, we're really in the beginning when it comes to doing any types of active selling or marketing our product at all.
Okay, perfect.
We're literally doing nothing. We're not selling it. And we're not marketing it. Okay. People have just found us.
I mean, that is not a bad thing, okay?
Yeah.
So let's just stop this. How are we on time? 1:30, right? Yeah. Okay, perfect. So I
click one-ish and then we'll time here.
Perfect. Okay, no problem. Thank you. So I'm done with this slide. I'll be glad to share this with you. But let's get into this other slide that I have that I think could help as well as far as starting from scratch, and then we'll go into that. Let's just have an open discussion about that. Let me find it really
Without doing anything, about 860.
About 800.
I know.
That's amazing.
Worked with there a little bit.
It costs you
Just like bounce ideas off of.
I mean, I guess I shouldn't say it doesn't cost anything. I mean, our founder, well, I guess it doesn't cost anything because our founder
It's
is
really
salary,
nice to
but
have
he
some
goes around and like talks. He like
Yeah.
goes and speaks
You
about,
ever want to
urban
see what I'm
agriculture?
doing and how we're doing it? Like, I wish I had.
and that's it. That's all we do. You know, like.
And then people Google him and are like, oh, he does this thing.
No, but like he talks to people, they kind of spread the
But if you want
word.
to
It's like
figure out
very
how
word
big
of mouth.
this looks like, it's
People
like potentially something
who move to DC
Yeah,
are
sure. Wait,
say
what's the
like, I want a
competition?
compost, but I can't in the city, and then they Google composting in DC
Yeah.
and we come up. Like that's
BEY.
literally it. That's
That
all
is
we.
not a bad problem to have at all.
And so now we're like, okay, what does it make sense? Like these are free customers, but how do we?
Wow, that's great.
It's time to start investing because we're prepared for growth, so we need to keep growing.
Oh, look, it's this guy again. I told you I'm using all my slides.
It's an A+ slide.
It is, it really is. So again, some of these are really the same. I'm gonna keep this up here, and I'll share this with you guys. These are incredible sales blogs to have as far as using it to understand business. Those two books up there, To Sell is Human and Proactive Selling, is literally the Bible of sales. It is amazing, and I highly recommend reading those, and I have a few more that I'll send you.
There's a copy of that sitting on the bookshelf. I didn't take one. Yeah, I think there's actually 4 or 5 copies of that sitting on the bookshelf. So. Sorry.
No, that's okay. That's great.
Yeah, we're starting to expand with that, so
Yeah.
it's good when people know what's on there.
Absolutely. All right, so I don't even want to go with this either. So let's start with you, okay? Obviously, your CEO is doing a good job of going out there and talking to people. They Google your company and it comes right up, okay? So now you want to make some money and actually go out and talk to people.
Right.
What do you have with you now as far as like collateral, sales? Okay, you know what, let me take a step back. Tell me, I have no idea what your company does, and I'm in your industry, and I potentially could be a client. If we met today right now, tell me what your company does in less than 10 seconds.
We provide home collection service for composting so that folks can live through their values and reduce waste.
Okay. All right, next. Same thing. Sorry. No, it's okay.
I'm like,
No,
great,
it's fine.
great. I'm like, okay, let me get
Yeah, it's,
Our elevator.
yeah, just give me an elevator pitch in less than 10 seconds.
Okay, eComms is an information services company that provides market data on entrepreneur ecosystems in emerging markets.
Okay, good.
We let your business stop using cash to pay people.
Awesome. Short and sweet.
Okay, say what I said.
It's a new salesperson here.
We
For sure.
make it easy for people to donate to their favorite charities on social media by typing #donate.
Or somebody doesn't know what hashtag is.
Then they should be using it.
You know your clients. That's good.
Not for you.
That's good. So I like that. That's good. It's not for everybody, right?
Yeah.
That's good.
Did not fall for that trick.
Okay, so we'll start back here with you. I know you mentioned this before, but do you have a plan on how you want to approach anybody that you want to talk to? Have you purchased leads yet?
So we're probably much different than all of you. Like over time is like much smaller. It's
Okay.
like $150 annually is all like. So we spending money on leads isn't always like that's kind of it's different, right? If our customer was like $10,000 annually, like then that changes it. So we're hoping to like ramp up, like use our current customer base to help create referrals.
Sure.
Basically, is kind of what we're thinking about, but we're not really. That's
Sure.
where we are.
So here's again my opinion. Forget buying leads. You have a great referral base. Use them. Do you know what kind of outreach you have to focus on your referrals?
Yeah, I mean, we're hoping to use our driving team. So we have people who literally drive a truck and go around and pick up compost in people's homes. And so we're hoping to utilize those folks to sell to people within that neighborhood, because operationally it's much cheaper for us to have a customer that lives next door to another customer in terms of cost. And so doing like neighborhood referral programs / using our drivers to market to people in the neighborhood by like literally like dropping flyers and things like that.
Right.
We don't do any of that now.
Sure. So this is completely out of my world, obviously. Yeah. I'm in technology, I'm in SaaS sales.
Yeah.
But one thing that comes to mind is being more involved in the community, going into like farmers market and having a stand.
We already do some of that stuff, right? But our founder does it also. It doesn't cost us anything, really,
right?
So
that's awesome. Yeah. So keep doing that, and then again, my opinion, give your product out for free.
Yeah.
It costs $150.
It costs us $150.
It costs you how much? So if I
make about 50% of what we bring in, like that's our margin.
Okay, so if I'm going to utilize your service, how much would I be paying?
About $300 a year.
$300 a year. Okay. You can literally give this product away for free, for your services away for a year, 6 months, to bring in, again, those early adopters. Let them be part of your business to help your client base grow, because they're the ones that are going to be like, oh my God, this amazing company have provided me this awesome green service, and they didn't even ask me for money. But it's helping the environment. It's helping me become, create less of a carbon footprint. And then those are the ones that are going to help you sell your product. Your margin's so low that it's okay to sell it, to give it away or sell it for dirt cheap and not make money on it right now. Because you're the way, again, this is my opinion, again, you are growing your business in a way that it's not about generating revenue now, right away. It's about growing your referral base, growing your client base. And they're the ones that are going to help grow your company into hopefully creating revenue. That's my thought on how you could do that. I think your CEO was great, being out in the community, as many shows or events, anything like that, being out there, just hanging cards out and doing the things that he needs to do is great. But use those referrals to provide free services for potential clients. That's just a thought.
How would you explore channels? Because I immediately think of like housing associations or something along those lines, because that you would reach large numbers of potential customers, and then basically instead of selling to individual households, you're going through that. The question is testing, seeing what works.
Yeah, so housing associations is separate. They're challenges for us because they don't really like us. Like it's better for us to do like home residences, like buildings become challenges for us in different ways. So they take us a lot more time to service, and we run into some problems. So our like ideal customer is like a house.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like
We at least know that much about like how much it costs to like service different people and what we can make out of them.
I guess I was thinking more like the neighborhood, just not neighborhood.
Oh, okay.
But those kind of,
Yeah.
They have a formal name when I can't remember.
HOAs?
HOAs?
Homeowners associations?
Like homeowners associations, but also like there's the neighborhood associations that have been set up for like renters or other, but the homeowner associations. That's what I was thinking.
Got it. Okay. When you mentioned that, I thought you meant like buildings, like. Anyway. Okay.
So
yeah.
I'm really interested here, and I promise we'll get to everybody else. Say I'm a homeowner, and you come to my house. What is the service I'm paying for exactly? So what are you giving me?
We literally give you a bucket to put your compost in, and we pick it up once a week.
Okay. So kind of like recycle bin.
It's a recycling bin.
What's the difference between using AAA recycling company and yours?
They don't pick up compost. We're the only people in DC that will pick up your food scraps.
Gotcha. Okay.
And turn it into soil.
What have you focused on? Thought about restaurants?
Yes, So if you're a restaurant, you're probably better served to hire your own like hauler to come in and do it, because the amount of volume you're creating, we can't like throw it in the back of a pickup truck.
Gotcha.
Okay, so your drivers do pick up trucks.
Yes, we do zip trucks.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I think that's a really cool concept. But I think initially you're in an area where some people are like, well, yeah, I don't want to do it, or there's AAA recycling, things like that, and you're the only one who does composite. Just let it be known that we're doing this for free. Like this is not there's no huge expense out of your pocket or a half off or something
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah, like we currently, if someone's like, hey, like I want to like desubscribe, like we'll like, okay, we'll like pay what you want kind of thing. Like it's more valuable for us to have them there and have like our presence in the neighborhoods to.
Right.
But I think we've sort of went the opposite way. Like we started charging a lot and then backing down. I don't know. Like that's like for someone to pay $300 a year to literally get the garbage taken away is kind of a lot when you think about it. So we're only getting people who are really, really passionate about, who have composted before maybe and now moved to a city and they like just can't bring themselves to like throw it in the trash and they know that it like causes all these environmental problems. And so our price point is actually pretty high compared to like some of our competitors who are doing it in other cities. So that's kind of, we did it the opposite way.
Right.
to
No,
start
that, I
off
mean,
with.
yeah, that's good because I don't know, how
Yeah.
it works in your world. So, yeah, focusing on the referrals, I think is the biggest thing for you. Word of mouth referrals and growing that base that way. Speaking of what Dan said, like targeting your channels is really important. So, where do you spend most of your time advertising your company? Do you do any not even like paid advertising, just any kind of like Twitter, Facebook, things like that?
Yes, but no, we don't really use it very much. I guess our biggest advertisement is we just invested in having magnets that we put on the zip trucks so that when we're driving, we're advertising.
Gotcha.
I guess that would be the only advertising that we do.
Sure.
I mean, we do have plans to kind of ramp up our social media presence, but I don't know how valuable it will be if we're not doing any like paid advertising. Like we've considered doing some paid advertising,
Right.
but we haven't gotten there yet. Because I don't know
Yeah, I mean,
if it makes sense in this. That's where we don't know whether it makes sense for us.
So that's one thing you want to try to figure out with your market research and your current referrals clients is where do they spend the most time, whether it's online presence, magazine presence. So for example, a 75-year-old person is not going to spend time on Twitter, so it's probably not a good idea to advertise on Twitter. Majority of our clients, for example, are all over all the social media sites, so we barely spend any money on paid advertisement. It's all about online presence, Twitter, Facebook, Google Plus, things like that. And then we pay for search engine and pay by click. So figure out where your customers spend the most time is going to be huge. So those people that you talk to, ask them. This is perfect. So we do a lot of discovery with our clients. So right now with my current corporate clients, I ask them, like, if this wasn't available, what would you be using? Like, how would you search for something like this? And just make them become your advocate of understanding how you want to pitch your product. And then, like, same for you, Dan. Like, and we'll get to you two next. Same for you. If you weren't using telecom or our product, how would you go around, doing your transactions without actual cash? And where would you look for things like that? I mean, obviously, social media is going to be a little bit different in that part of the world, but it's understanding where they spend most of their time. Yeah, Facebook is definitely a user on it. You're right.
Facebook and Twitter spend some time. It's kind of interesting. Data's expensive. That's a big issue.
Yeah, data. Right. Okay, so let's talk about and then just throw out questions. So let's talk about your world. So how much is it going to cost? How much does it cost for you to sell your product?
Right now, for the pilot, it would cost us a whole lot because we're the process of either receiving a grant or contract with a development organization to actually deploy the pilot. So for the ideal paying customer to offer this at a steep discount would be okay because we're getting subsidized at the end, right?
Yeah, awesome.
So, just hearing your feedback and different thoughts, I think the way for us at this point is to actually just offer that at a discount. I think I've started paying. Do I ask them how much they would want to pay for this, or how to go about figuring out the range of pricing? Because what I'm trying to drill down to is customer acquisition costs and value of the customer.
Sure.
That's something that is just a big question mark right now.
Sure.
because I don't have sort of this idea of what is the final kind of product pricing. The sort of our model is subscription-based model, where you have sort of this flat rate and then we upsell
Features.
information products, right?
Sure.
So where we are right now with this pilot, I think we have something to offer. The data that we've collected from this pilot
Right.
allow us to kind of incentivize these early adopters to say, yeah, I'm interested in this kind of data, this is great, and then figure out who the champions are. During our sort of customer interview, say 3-4 months ago, during this customer interview process, the conversation was slightly different. It was more of asking them, hey, would you be interested in this data? What kind of data are you looking for? How do you currently reach entrepreneurs in this market? So we never got to, yes, I would pay for this. We got that question. Yes, I'm really interested in this data, but not what this is the amount I pay for it,
Right.
because we didn't have our prototype at that.
Right. So, I mean, that's a great question to ask during discovery is, if this is something that meets all your needs,
Yeah.
how much do you think you pay for a product like this? When you're focusing on corporations and investors, you want to talk their language. So you want to talk ROI. You want to talk not how great this widget is or this product is, but it's about how this can save them certain time on whatever their problem is. So what I focus on in my calls and my conversations is, for example, tell me about, tell me about what you're currently doing now to plan this XYZ event. Oh, I hire part-time people, we use Excel. Oh, so how much does that cost you to do that? Well, it costs this much for, part-time people, it costs this much, and it costs this much man hours to work on Excel, okay? So now this is what my product does, blah, 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 and this is how it can save you money. Do you think that having a product that can save you X% of time and X% of dollars would help you in your return on your investment? So now you're talking their language rather than saying, this is the greatest thing in the world. So I would focus on asking them how much they would pay for something like this.
Yeah, that's exactly where we are. We've been using sort of this idea of, it costs about $2,000 to find the US to have.
Right.
That in itself is something that we say because you have access to this information that you're not.
Right.
So we've been sort of creative in that sense, saying, okay, if we can even at least save $2,000 on a plane ticket,
right.
There's a cost savings that we can actually just demonstrate up front.
Yeah.
So that's how we've been sort of engaging them. Oh yeah, there is value.
So are you doing demos, like demonstrations online, like screen share and doing a slide deck, or?
So we just finished our prototype. We presented in Vienna to just sort of different organizations and governments. Because it is sort of this multi-sided. We have government organizations who are interested in the data. We have policymakers who want this data. And we had, phenomenal kind of feedback. But at the end of the day, if it's not a sustainable business model, it doesn't mean a whole lot.
Right.
It's so much, but
no,
it has to be sustainable. So I'm trying to identify who is actually the real paying customer.
Right.
So we're not charging entrepreneurs. It's the investor community, fortunately for us, that community is based in the US or in Europe. So the trend, we do have the infrastructure in place to actually meet it's pretty easy for them to actually buy our product. But it's just figuring out that purchase price.
Right.
It's where we're at. And this is all new to me. I'm just really learning as I go along.
Right.
So I definitely love to kind of take it offline and just even go a bit deeper.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm more than happy to do that. I can tell you now, the social tables has been around for 3 years. I still have no idea what our price point is. I make up numbers as I go. I'm not kidding you. I'll be on the phone so the client that I told you that I gave him that software for $500 is Wendy's corporate, so the restaurant chain. I'm probably going to just throw out a number like, yeah, this product is blah, 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 $25,000. Just see what happens. Because I know they're a multi-billion-dollar company. But then I'll be talking to somebody else, like mom and pop financial services. Oh, it's $1,000. I literally just throw out numbers based on my comfort level of conversations I've had with them. So building the value, once you talk to them and you build the value and you understand their business objects, objections, their model, and why they would want something like this, you ask questions like that. So, how much time have you spent? How much money do you spend now on your current solution? Oh, we don't spend anything. So if I know that up front, like, oh, they're not paying any money for software, there's no way they can go from 0 to 5,000 like that, even if we offer the most amazing thing in the world. So it's just throwing somewhere that makes sense for them. So I literally have no idea what to ever charge or suggest a price point to clients. I just throw a number out there.
So it sounds to me like the paying customer takes different forms, something that we're
Yeah, absolutely.
as well.
Absolutely.
So you just, this is really great. So you just throw out a number and they see what sticks.
Yeah, I mean, not in the conversation where I know nothing about that,
Sure.
right? So you showed your product. I always start, for example, my demonstrations. They're usually 30 minutes long. Screen share. The first 15 to 20 minutes, I don't show anything about social tables or what we do. I do discovery conversations. So this is going to be important for you. This is not selling. This is you understanding who you're talking to, what their needs are, and why they're even considering to talk to Good World. So I spend literally 15 minutes or 20 minutes of my demonstration asking them to talk to me. So tell me about what you do. What is it that you're looking for in a product like this in a perfect world? So I throw out ridiculous questions and just have them talk, so I can hear pain points. Oh, we don't have this, and it causes this many issues. If we had this market research data, if we had some kind of data that doesn't take us hours and hours to figure out, we could probably do this, this, and that. So you're letting them tell you what they want, and then I customize my pitch and my product to them. So okay, so these are the things you told me. So this is what we do. Normally, clients are paying from this much to this much. Is this something that works around? Is this something that fits your budget? Then you can just go into the pricing. So that's how I do it. That's how a lot of our people on our sales team do it. So hi.
Hi.
This should be fun. Let me hear your pitch again.
Oh, yeah, I wrote it down. Look at that. Okay.
Step 1, write down your pitch. That's good.
We make it easy for people to donate to their favorite charities by simply typing #donation
So
on social media.
So who's we? Good World. Okay, that's first guy. I have no idea who we is. So you can also say Good World is something, and then go into your pitch, which is great.
Okay.
I don't want to see you've got.
Okay.
Do you have the room at 1?
No, I think we're just wrapping up.
Okay, cool. Thank
How are you? Thanks, Joel.
Oh, so we're done at 1? Oh, I thought it was 1:30.
Double check with Kate.
Yeah. If it's done at 1, we can go outside if you guys want to talk a little bit longer. Okay, so what are you selling to me right now? Let's say I'm a potential client. You give me the pitch. Let's see the pitch one more time with it.
Okay. Good World makes it easy for people to donate to their favorite charities on social media simply by writing hashtag. But sometimes there's another version of the pitch where it's flipped. It doesn't talk about the donors, it talks about the nonprofit itself.
Okay.
And I think I need to change it so it feels more to
So
a nonprofit.
what is a nonprofit? What's your pitch to a nonprofit?
Yeah, I'm working on that one.
That's good. Okay. No, it's okay. So who are you targeting now? The nonprofit or the person that is on the other side? So that wouldn't work, right? Okay. So I'm joeschmo.org, nonprofit company. Why would I want to know about Good World?
I guess because what Good World does, actually, so the thing is, a lot of nonprofits either they don't the conversion rate. I think for nonprofits, you actually market on social media and you actually get donations is less
So I
than
guess
1%.
there at 1, do you guys want to swap over to Microsoft now?
Yeah, sure. You guys want to jump in there?
That's fine. Really sorry about that.
No, sure.